Happy Tuesday night, my friends at Prime Sports World. Welcome back into another edition of the crossover. This time, we're bringing down the NBA Draft Lottery recap, which went down about an hour and a half ago and saw the Orlando Magic come away with the very first overall pick. Congratulations to the Orlando Magic. We're going to break down all of the picks and what they mean, and we're going to do a little mini mock draft too, so, stay tuned for that content. I've been David Hubbard. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. And if you're looking for consistent content on Prime, on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and on the Facebook? What I missed? I missed one of them. It doesn't really matter. If you're looking for us, I'm going to share the link to the StreamYard link on all of those places. So if you feel like joining in on a conversation here at Prime Sports World, talk about the lottery, talk about what went down, what do we think is going to happen now that the lottery has been set. Feel free to join us. We love having people as guests here at Prime Sports World. It's always an open forum for everybody wants to join and talk sports with us, as long as you keep it PG. That is important. TJ, how are you today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good, man. I just finished teaching for the day. I had a pretty good day at the office. So whenever you can have a good day at the office, dude, the life is just good.
No, the school I work at lost power at about 3-something this morning. Well, yeah, 3-something this morning. So I had to wait for that to get turned back on to finish the stuff. Wasn't really too, upset about it.
How long did it take? Just curious.
It was actually about 45 minutes for them to come through and get our generators back on and running.
Okay.
Because the initial power, we had a tree knock down some wires over here, like on the other side. Like my apartment and stuff where I live is like we were fine. It was just like that part, like where the high school is at. That area lost power. So, like, as far as the apartments and stuff go, that I don't know. But the high school was fine because they had to come in and, like, manually reset the generator.
Yeah, I've been there with to deal with the generator before. It's it is what it is. Let's get into the conversation. First team that got the number one pick, the Orlando Magic. 2 goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. 3, the Houston Rockets. 4, Sacramento, who jumped up from 7 to end up in the top 4. By the way, if you're not aware of how this works, the way the draft lottery works, you either draft where you're slotted or you move into the top 4. There's no a system. There's no system in place where you're going to move up. Like you're either going to draft where you're supposed to be at, or you're going to move up into the top 4. A lot of people have a lot of confusion when it comes to that system. But yeah, you're either going to draft where you are, or you're going to end up in the top 4.
Well, I think where the confusion lies is, like you said, like if this team is projected to go here, but this other team has that draft pick, and if they fall here, then that team, it's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Take the Lakers situation for example, right? Like if they fell out of their top 10, they kept their pick, but if they fell in the top 10,
well, no,
teams had an opportunity to get that pick.
No, if that pick fell out of the top 10, it went to Memphis. They had never had an opportunity to keep their first round pick. Never, not even for a minute.
But you see how that's confusing? Well,
it's because of another trade, like the Jonas Valanciunas trade. Because of that swap, that's the reason that the trade that happened. And yes, it is confusing. It is confusing. Unless you're somebody does a lot of research and studies it daily, it could become overwhelming, for sure.
Very. It's very confusing.
But yeah, from there, we had the Indiana Pacers with the 6 picks. 7 is Portland Trailblazers, even though they dusted off Damian Lillard for this. Didn't help them get into the top 4. 8, New Orleans Pelicans. This pick is from the Los Angeles Lakers, as TJ mentioned. As TJ mentioned in the group chat that we're all in, the Lakers must be kicking themselves right now. I don't totally agree with that. I mean, this has been a top 4 pick. I could totally buy it, but it's 8th overall. I mean, come on. 9, San Antonio. 10, Washington Wizards.
Okay,
11, you can have a moment. Yeah, you'll have it. 11 is the New York Knicks. 12 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Again, this is part of the Paul George trade. What, the Clippers aren't kicking themselves too? I mean, come on, isn't it the same?
Their future looks better than the Lakers.
Oh, yeah, you're not wrong there. 13, Charlotte Hornets. 15 is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's first start with the Orlando Magic. They get the first overall pick in this year's draft. Congratulations to the Orlando Magic. They had to add another piece to what is already a very young core of players with a bunch of really potential upside. What do we think about Orlando ended up with the first overall pick, and what are your thoughts in general about what you think Orlando should do with this?
Well, when we first talked about it, we legit said that one of the two bigs would fit perfectly here because, like, you're playing a lot of Wendell Carter at the 5, and he's not a 5. He's not a true 5. But you also have a guy like Mo Bamba who you're still trying to figure out what he can do and unlock him because he spent like 3 years just riding the bench and just not playing at all.
Yeah, and he had his best season as a pro by far. So, you know.
By far. And the one thing you don't want to do is...
He's probably going to... He's a restricted free agent this offseason. He's probably made himself like a $10 million contract this offseason.
Yeah, and the one thing you don't want to do is if you keep him, and you draft one of these those two bigs either being Chet Holmgren or Jabari Smith, what you don't want to do is the same thing that you did to him before and create a log jam at that spot, right? So you have, let's just say they go Holmgren or Smith. You got one of them, you got Mo Bamba, and you got Wendell Carter Jr. and Franz Wagner who can play the 4.
Yep.
Somebody's not.
And we didn't even mention Jonathan Isaac, who can play the 4 as well.
Somebody's not going to get minutes in that rotation, right? Like somebody's going to be unhappy. You're not drafting and you're not drafting Smith or Holmgren first overall to not play them.
It's true.
That's just not happening, right? So if I'm the Orlando Magic, unless you don't want to pay, because Mo Bamba's a free agent this offseason, right? Like this summer.
Correct. Restricted.
So if Mo Bamba gets a deal that's too rich for your liking, then you drafted one of these cats. That makes all the sense in the world. It does. It really does.
Yeah.
Right. But let's just say you stand packed and you match whatever offer Mo Bamba gets. Paolo Banchero makes the most sense to me right here because Jonathan Isaac is not going to be ready out the gate. And
I mean, he might be, but I think at this point, Jonathan Isaac has spent so many seasons injured. I don't know. I'm not sure you can count on what he's going to be as a player when he comes back.
Well, that's the point. Like, again, you can't prep for NBA basketball without playing NBA basketball.
Ask Ben Simmons all about that.
He can't, like, he hasn't done it, right? Like, he hasn't played a full-paced, serious NBA basketball game in so long. It's going to take a minute to adjust to it, right? Like, he's not going to be the Jonathan Isaac that he was when he went out, right? Like
more than likely, unless something, unless he's just like a wonder child.
Like we gotta remember the Orlando Magic picked him to be the guy. They let Vooch go. They let Aaron Gordon go. They picked him to be the guy. So that's just me.
Well, in the Magic defense here, he got injured. Like he was injured before they traded him away. Yeah, and they didn't trade him until the season after that. Like Aaron Gordon and Vooch after that.
They still could have traded him.
I mean, what kind of value does the guy who's coming off an ACL tear have? Not a lot.
Still could have traded.
You're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong here, but like, I just don't think they had a lot of other options. Like there were probably people out calling about Jonathan Isaac.
I beg to differ because if I want him now, I can lowball you.
Yeah, but I mean the other side of that coin. I mean, they have to know that teams are going to try to do that. So I'm not going to trade a guy when his value is as low as it can go, unless you absolutely get totally given up on him.
Still could have happened, but they didn't. So if they keep Mo Bamba, it doesn't make sense to draft one of the 2 7-footers. So Paolo Banchero should honestly be calling Orlando home if they keep Mo Bamba. If they don't,
well, I mean, if you watch the telecast, like they were like Ben Carroll wasn't even involved at the top. Like he was like he's not even like in the picture for the top 2 picks. Like did you guys watch Ben Carroll play in the NCAA tournament? Like he was pretty damn good. Like he was arguably the best player in the tournament. And they didn't even mention him. Like they had I don't remember who the college analyst was. But like he was like They didn't even mention him as being like even a possibility at the first overall pick. I'm like, did you guys watch him play college? Like, did nobody watch him? Like, I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, right?
Yeah, but it's fine. Like we know what he can do. Like it's not like we didn't see him on TV like pretty much all of last college season. Like that's Duke. Not only is that Duke, that's Coach K's last coaching.
Yeah,
That was the last season of Coach
class.
K's career.
Let's
Right?
go. Recruiting class too.
Yeah, we were gonna see Bancaro whether we wanted to or not. So we know what the kid can do. Oklahoma City, on the other hand, a lot of ways they could go. I can definitely see them getting one of the two bigs. They desperately need one of those two.
I mean,
bigs.
if Chet Holmgren's there, he's going to be an Oklahoma City Thunder. He's
Right.
he's basically like Poku, only a little bit bigger, not by a lot, but.
Pokashevsky's 7 foot tall, but he's 200 pounds. Like, bro, I got 50 pounds on him, and I'm 10 inches shorter. maybe more. Like, I'm definitely way shorter than him. But the fact that I outweigh him by 50 pounds is,
I only outweigh him by 15 pounds now.
Like that's crazy, right? Like, bro, like you need some bricks in your back pocket, man.
He would be a good compliment to what they have already on their roster. Josh Giddey, if they re-sign Lou Dort as restricted free agent, they have tons of different ways they can go with this pick. Like their opportunities are endless, and there is the opportunity, the potential here that they could be calling up Orlando and try to trade 2 and whatever the other 12 and see if they can get the first overall pick and have complete control over this draft. You think Sacramento needs more young players? No, they need a stud.
And the mock that I was just looking at, it's by SB Nation. They got Chet going. I think they got Chet going to Orlando at 1. Yeah, let me read. No, they got Bancaro going number 1 to Orlando, which is what I would do.
That's what I would do too. That's what I would do.
They got Holmgren going 2 to OKC. They got
you're SB Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're the only ones who've come out with a mock draft yet. So,
that's the only one I clicked on.
I guess there were a couple other ones. The Athletic has one too. They have Jabari Smith Jr. going to the Magic at number 1. I mean, there are a lot of different ways you can go. When it comes to, and then if you're Houston, you got to be pretty happy about your position too. I mean, Houston, you basically get whoever falls in your lap. You don't have to be the team that makes the decision. Like, you just have to pick whoever doesn't get picked. I almost love being in that situation. I don't have to be the one that makes the choices. Like, I'm the one who gets whoever I just get whoever falls to me. And I don't have to be the one who has to think about it later. Like, oh, maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. Like, no, I took the guy that came. He was there. I took him.
And go into ESPN, go to Jonathan Givnoy. He does mock drafts the minute the NBA is over, right? He does it the minute the NBA is over. Like, he's looking to next year's class already. So he has Jabari Smith going first to Orlando. So I think he's anticipating somebody's gonna give Mo Bamba a bag that's too rich.
I mean, Jabari Smith is really a power forward. Like, he's not. I wouldn't consider him a big.
What is he, 6? That's tall as he's 6. I'm looking it up. Don't do it. He's 6'10".
Yeah, he's 6'. Oh, that's his dad.
Yeah, he's about 6'10". Chet Holmgren, what, 7'1"?
7 foot, yeah, 7 feet tall. He's 6'10". But the way he plays is more of a power forward, small forward, like a Giannis almost. Only without the Giannis stuff.
And Auburn having what's his name, Kessler Walker, allows him to be a power forward / small forward, because Kessler Walker's 7 foot tall himself.
And I thought it was interesting though, the number 4 prospect that they had in when they were showing prospects, it was the kid from Kentucky is the number 4. I thought that was pretty interesting. The kid that hasn't played competitive basketball in over a year. I thought it was pretty interesting that he's considered the number 4 prospect in this year's draft. I think we'll have a better idea once the combine gets started and stuff, because I'm not sure I would take him over Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey is going to be special.
Well, Jaden, according to the mock draft I'm looking at, Jaden Ivey's not even in the top. Good block. Jay Knight's not even in. Oh, he is in the top 5. He goes to Detroit at 5.
I don't think
He
that
has
makes a whole
Keegan Murray going 4 to
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Paolo Banchero falls to Houston at 3. So yeah,
Yeah.
his
I
top
mean,
his top
if
5
if you if
is
you if you if you're Houston, that's got to be what your
that's a
dream
win.
scenario. That's a dream scenario.
That's
You
a
probably
win.
you probably would have taken him with the first overall pick.
Yeah.
You get him at
So
you
if
got
I'm
him at
Hu-
3.
so his top 5 is Smith, Holmgren, Banchero, Murray, Jay Knivey. That's his top 5.
So the Sacramento thing's interesting because it seems like they're in that scenario they're drafting over team need as opposed to best player available, which is never a great way to draft, but it is Sacramento, so I can see it. Looking at a couple other
Well,
mock drafts, we got the Indiana Pacers. They take Shaden Sharp, the guard from Kentucky. I
that's
love
it.
that pick as a compliment to Tyrese Halliburton. It's perfect. He's 6'5" shooting guard. He can really play. 7-foot wingspan.
Well,
He makes a
that
really good.
tell,
Chris Duarte can play the small forward position too if he could do that.
this tells me that Malcolm Brogdon could also be a trade chip, and at
I
some
think
point,
Malcolm Brogdon. I think Malcolm Brogdon, because Malcolm Brogdon signed his extension right before the season started, he was ineligible to be traded this season. So there were rumors swirling about Malcolm Brogdon and Buddy Hield. Both those guys are not. I think one or both those guys are going to be traded before the season starts.
get both. Actually, both might actually.
Yeah, I think Buddy
I'm so
Buddy
serious.
Hield, Buddy Hield will, and I think Malcolm Brogdon probably will as well. In this other mock draft, the one from SB Nation, Portland Trailblazers, they go with Jalen Duren, center out of
Mm-hmm.
Memphis. Second youngest player in this draft, 6'10", 250, 7'5" wingspan. His offensive game has all sorts of work that needs to be done, but you're never gonna. You're probably not gonna get somebody who's a finished product in the NBA at this point right now. Like they're gonna need work. But this
No,
also
he
means they're probably going
is,
to let Yusuf Nurkic walk. He is a unrestricted free agent this offseason.
and you also got to keep in mind a lot of these kids are 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, he's the second. This is the second
Right?
youngest player in the entire draft.
Like a lot of these dudes like they're 18, 19 years old. Like they can't even buy alcohol when they they can't even buy alcohol yet, man. Like
Yeah,
I can't expect like there's no way their game is gonna be fully, polished. So you said SB Nation has Shaden Sharp and Jalen Duran going 6 and 7.
yep.
That's who Jonathan Givnoy has on his. At
Keegan
8
Murray.
he has he has AJ Griffin going to New Orleans.
Okay,
What does SB Nation say?
they got him taking Keegan Murray, the forward out of Iowa. Pretty good selection. Gives you a little bit of versatility. I don't think he starts for this team, at least not right away. Zion is going to be there. I mean, I guess you're going to maybe if you play him at the power small forward position. But they really do need a guard. And the fact that Jaden Ivey is still on the board. Oh, no, he's not. Jaden Ivey goes to number 4 to Sacramento in this particular mock draft.
The other Jaden is on the board. The one from G League, the G League.
The one from SB Nation has Adrian Griffin going 5 to the Pistons.
Well, I don't like that. If I'm the Pistons,
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about that either.
If I'm the Pistons, the last thing I need is another guard, and if I'm New Orleans, the last thing I need is more wings. Right, you are wing heavy as currently constructed. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Bi, McCollum, Zion when he comes back.
Yeah, but
5.
Keegan Murray's more of a bigger, stoutier type player,
and he can play the wing.
Yeah, I think he's more of a power forward in the NBA. He reminds me a little bit of Draymond Green.
I wouldn't go that far, but you can have that one, I guess.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter, they're still you don't want to create a logjam at your position.
True.
They don't. If I'm New Orleans, AJ Griffin that, I don't need that. The only way I do that is if Zion is nowhere near to coming back, or if he gets hurt again. But
or if they trade him before the draft, which I can't imagine a scenario where he gets traded within a month.
But even then, if I'm New Orleans, I need a point. That way, everybody can slide down into their natural slot. So CJ can be the 2, not the 1. Brandon Ingram can be the 3, and not the 2.
I mean, but
so on and so forth.
he also has the allot for a rookie to come in and be the starting point guard on a team that wants to go to the playoffs. I mean, this Ty Washington makes a lot of sense here for both of these teams. You know, if they need guard help. The Pistons need more of a
They
power
need the
forward,
wings.
is
They're
off
like,
ball forward
they
center.
need the
Yeah,
big man.
yeah, like they need a big man. Like they don't really, because they're gonna have to pay Marvin Bagley the third if they want to keep him. Yeah. Going through the rest of this top 10, the Spurs, they got Benedict Mathurin, the guard out of Arizona. I actually really like that pick, even though San Antonio has a million guards on their roster right now. But the Heat needed to keep taking dart throws at the wing guard position to see if he gets somebody who ends up being a star. Because they've taken a bunch of dart throws at guys that haven't really worked out, and Lonnie Walkers of the world, Devin Vassell of the world. Even Keldon Johnson, who's a decent player, hasn't been all that good.
And when you picked him to be the most improved, for this past season, I'm like, I didn't hate it because you gotta.
That ended up not being a great decision. It's like I got a call.
No, like it's not like it was a bad pick because, like, again, to play for Team USA, right? Like to play with the dudes that's on Team USA, like you gotta come with it, right? Like you are invited to that camp just like everybody else who was invited to that camp, and they picked you. Right, like they picked, like they could have went an entirely different direction, right? But they you can say it's because Pop was the coach of Team USA. You can go that route if you want to. Fine, be my guest. But the fact remains, if Pop ain't gonna pick you because he's your player, like that's his guy. Like that's not the type of coach Greg Popovich is, right? Like we've literally seen Pop send his 4 Hall of Fame players home, right? Like. He sent them home. It was a back-to-back. Like he's like, no, you're not even coming to the game. Just go home. Like that wasn't a punishment or anything, but it's the fact that he did that. Yeah. What coach is going to send Hall of Fame players home? Popovich. But this mock has Dyson Daniels out of the G League at night, going to the Spurs at 9.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same guy. It's the same idea. Like it's the same. It's the same concept.
I'm with you, man. They need the wings. They need the bigs. Like Jakob Poeltl is a solid big, but
I mean, Zach Collins on this roster who could never stay healthy ever.
So like they need a big, man. They need a big in the wing in the worst way. Again, the only player I'm sure in my stakings, like I'm good on all my stakes is DeJounte Murray.
And I didn't think it's too early to give up on Josh Primo too. I mean, he's only had one season. He's only literally. I don't even think he's turned 19 yet.
If he might just be 19.
Just not yet, barely. Yeah, like he was the youngest player when they drafted him. He's still pretty young.
So I'm what's his name? RC
Buford.
Yeah, RC Buford is. Like he got a pass for all those. Like they got a pass for all those years because of their ability to find gems late in the draft and to make moves like the Kawhi Leonard move. That was a what are you doing move, but it turned out to be the right move. Right? Like
I still to this day don't think the Spurs got enough for Kawhi Leonard back in that trade. Like
no disrespect to
DeMar DeRozan and a first round pick that they're only just now getting.
No, they could have bled Toronto dry.
Yeah, but
they really could have. But they really could have. So yeah, San Antonio, you got to get a wing. You please, like if AJ Griffin is there at 9, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep, it makes a lot of sense just to Jakob Poeltl, and they need power forwards that can play power forward position to play power forward. Wizards, the couple mock drafts they have here, SB Nation, they got Johnny Davis, the guard out of Wisconsin. And the one in Sports Illustrated, they have Jalen Duren, the center out of Memphis, still here on the board.
Okay.
I mean, if he gets past the Spurs,
doesn't make sense to me. Jalen, I didn't mean to cut you off. Like Jalen Duren at 10, like you got KP and you got Daniel Gafford and you got Thomas Bryant.
Well, Thomas Bryant is a restricted free agent this offseason that it doesn't seem like they're going to be keeping him. I actually think he's going to end up as I think he might end up in Chicago.
Ooh, Thomas Bryant?
Yeah.
Well, we got to we got to assume that I get that teams are, they have restricted free agents, but for the sake of this, let's just assume that they're going to keep them.
Okay.
Just,
So I mean,
just for the sake of this.
Sure, but that makes a lot of sense. Like if you're going to keep him, yeah, I don't like the pick, but if you're going to let Thomas Bryant walk and Daniel Gafford, as much as we loved him in Chicago and we shouldn't have traded him in the first place. Let's not pretend like he's anything overly special.
Well, we're not saying that he was overly special, but the one thing that the Bulls needed,
I know, but the Bulls
rebounding.
And I think Johnny Davis, taking Johnny Davis, the kid from the Wisconsin, actually makes a whole lot more sense. Taking a guard, put him next to Bradley Beal, or figure out what you're going to do with Bradley Beal, even if Bradley Beal's not part of the core future of this team.
That's step one. Figure out what to do with Bradley Beal. Like you gotta figure that out. Who the Knicks said? Who do the Knicks get in your 2 mocks that you looking at?
So they got them taking Dyson Daniels, the guard out of the G League Ignite, and then they on the other one they have them taking AJ Griffin, the guard forward out of Duke, 6'6", 220. I don't actually. I think the Dyson Daniels ones is probably better, but
yeah, the AJ Griffin pick to me, like that's them. That's if they trade Julius Randle. Which
I don't think that
could happen. Tom Thibodeau was there tonight. I'm like, damn, bro, you still got a job. That means I thought you'd have been gone by now.
I thought he was going to get fired by now too. But I would be shocked if Julius Randle gets traded this offseason. His contract isn't exactly. Yes, I would be. I would be legitimately shocked. I would be.
The things that the NBA does, like the things that these teams do, like nothing should shock me.
No, I would be pretty shocked if Julius Randle was traded this offseason. His contract is not ideal for what team is going to be sitting there like, that's the guy. We need him. Like nobody, unless they're literally going to trade him away for literally just salary cap dump. And I don't think the Knicks are going to that kind of situation where they're just going to dump his salary and take back whatever.
Well, has it not gone completely down the drain?
Oh, sure, of course it has. But I don't think it's that where we're just going to dump his salary bad.
How come it's not? We've seen, literally, how come it's not?
We're only 1 season removed from this team being the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. Things did go south.
And they went south pretty fast.
Yeah, 1 season.
Like they went south pretty fast, and like his attitude that he showed his attitude.
It's true.
He literally cost his team multiple games because his attitude was trash.
Yeah, he got ejected out of that Suns game they should have won.
But Jonathan Givno, he has Benedict Mathurin going to the Knicks at 11.
I like that. I think it's Mathurin. Is it Mathurin? I think it's pronounced Mathurin. Mathurin? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to learn that because it looks like Mathurin.
He has some guy from the NBL, the Australian League, going to OKC at 12. So this is our first international prospect.
Is that Ousmane Dieng?
Dieng, yeah, him.
Yeah. Okay. These 2 mock drafts, they both have the same guy. They got Jeremy Shochan, the forward out of Baylor, 6'8", 220. His 19th birthday is actually on Friday. He's one of the interesting defensive players, and this is kind of a need, especially if you're going to put Chet Holmgren ends up being the pick that they end up with at number 2. You're going to need somebody like this guy to be kind of a defensive guy you can use and switch in the mature court.
Like this Thunder team is definitely one to keep your eye on. Like they have a lot of trade chips. They got 2-3 valuable pieces. I keep mentioning Lou Dort. Well, but you always say Lou Dort's a free agent.
Restricted free agent. So I mean,
restricted free agent at that. And you, of course, you gotta mention SGA. I doubt SGA gets moved because I think he's that guy. Like he's their guy. Right? I doubt SGA gets moved.
I mean, Poku could get traded. I mean, they have a bunch of young assets on that team. They have the center kid that was really the rumors were swirling like crazy around him right around the trade deadline. Hold on, let me pull up his name. But yeah, they have a bunch of young players. I mean, and they have 17 first-round picks in the next 3 drafts. Kendrick Williams. Kendrick Williams is the guy.
Yeah.
His name was flying all over trade rumors right around the trade deadline, because he's a big wing who stretches the floor a little bit, shoot the basketball.
You got him. You got Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Roby, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Darius Baisley. Like they got Theo Maladon.
Trey Man quietly had a really good rookie season too.
Who'd you say? Trey Man.
Who's not related at all to Terrence Mann, which is weird. Like spell the names of the
like my God. Like, you know who you sounded like right now? Like, you sounded like, what's his name? Jeff Van Gundy. He was like, I want a team full of brothers. And here goes Mark Jackson. What, you mean black guy? Like,
I'm just saying. Trey Mann and Terrence Mann, you would think that they'd be related because, their names both start with T. Their names are spelled the same. Their last names are spelled with, like, it feels like they'd be brothers, but they're not related at all.
Well, Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady have the most different names ever.
They're cousins. Yeah, so, but that's not even close to the same as brothers. Come on. I mean,
they related. Who they have 1 to 13? Who's at 13?
Sorry, Oki Agbayi. Oh man, I just butchered the shit out of that name.
From
Kansas, shooting guard. Yeah, which it doesn't make a whole lot of Oche Agbagi. Oh man. Oof.
I mean, I don't know the situations. I don't know the situation with Plumlee. I don't know how that's looking.
What does Plumlee have to do with this?
Isn't Oche a big man?
No, he's a 6'5" shooting guard.
Oh.
Like they got Book Knight. I mean, no, they doesn't. I mean, I guess. They have, they have Terry Rozier. They have Gordon Hayward. I mean, they have.
Gordon Hayward's been mentioned in some trade rumors.
That's true. He has been. I just
same thing with Scary Terry. Has been Scary Terry since he left Boston.
He was good this season, except for that playing game. But
nobody was in that play.
yeah, and we don't even know who the new head coach of that team's going to be yet.
That's true too.
Yeah, like the Cavaliers, and the other one they have them taking Terry Eason, the forward out of LSU.
Okay, so they just requested permission to interview Kenny Atkinson. I think he's on the Warriors staff now, but he spent he's old head coach in Brooklyn.
Yeah, he just dipped during. I wouldn't hire him.
They fired him.
No, I thought it was like semi-mutual. Like neither
no,
he wanted to leave and they didn't want him to stay, so they were like, we're gonna go. It's over.
No, they fired him. They fired him and named Jacques Vaughn the interim, and Jacques Vaughn proceeded to get a raw deal by Brooklyn so they could hire Steve Nash.
Yeah. And then the Cavaliers, they got Malachi Branham, the guard out of Ohio State. Makes a lot of sense for the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially if you're going to let Sexton leave.
If you let Colin Sexton, but then you still got, I guess Karis LeVert is more of a 3.
Small forward, but even so, Karis LeVert I don't think he's so good because he's already almost 30. You got to remember, I don't think Karis LeVert's so good. I'm going to not draft somebody based on the fact that he's on my roster. No offense to him. Which I know that was throwing some serious shade, but that's just how I feel about
it. I think if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers and if I'm JB Bickerstaff, I hit on something, right? I hit on something with the 3 7-footers in my starting lineup, right? That gave a lot of teams a lot of problems. Right?
Until it got semi figured out.
And the only reason some of it got semi figured out is because Jared Allen got hurt, and Evan Mobley got hurt.
It's true. So by the time the season starts next year, Karis LeVert's going to be 28.
No, that's fine. So I would rather try out him, Sexton, not Sexton.
Colin Sexton's not going to be on this team next year. Huh?
I would rather try out Garland, LeVert at the 2, and then I roll out Markkanen, Mobley, Jared Allen, 3, 4, 5.
And then they could always look to trade Kevin Love this offseason. His contract becomes as tradable it's ever been since he's basically been.
Since he signed it?
Yeah, basically since he signed it. He's got the last year. It's an expiring deal. He could be traded for something of value. And people, Kevin Love could be a valuable piece to some team.
So this is the Larry. So the mock have the two mocks that you looked at, have they stopped at 14 or did they do the
No,
whole first round?
they did the whole first round. Like they have Mark Williams, Ty Washington going to the Hawks, which I don't get at all.
Yeah, he has Tata Washington going to the Hawks at 16. He has Oche going to Charlotte at 15 instead of 13. The one I'm looking at, he has Tariq Eason going to Houston at 17. Jeremy Shochan coming to the Bulls at 18.
This one has Patrick Baldwin coming to the Bulls from 18. I would love that.
He has Nikola Jovic, the big man. I think he's also Serbian. He's coming to Minnesota at 19.
Yeah, the guy whose name is one letter away from Nikola Jokic. They have him going to the Spurs at 20 in this one.
He has Kennedy Chandler going to the Spurs at 20, that's another guard.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And he has Marshawn Beauchamp going to Denver at 21 out of G League at night. Blake Wesley, a guard, going to Memphis at 22. Walker Kessler, I said Kessler Walker earlier. Walker Kessler going to Brooklyn at 23. Now that makes
7'1", 245 pounds, sophomore. Yeah, if he ends up in Brooklyn, that would be a really nice pick. Even though they did draft somebody last year, they could have used as their defensive player. Yeah, they never touched the floor. So,
They got E.J. Liddell going to Milwaukee at 24. I watched a lot of E.J. Liddell at Ohio State, Big Ten country. He held his own against Kofi Kingston, but he's also he's super undersized.
Kofi Kingston?
He's super undersized to be labeled a power forward.
You said Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Coburn. He's 6'7".
Can you imagine if it was Kofi Kingston playing college basketball?
Come on, bro. It's not that.
I love Kofi Kingston. I love Kofi Kingston.
Anyways. He's 6'7". He's 6'7", 240. He's super undersized to be labeled a power forward in today's NBA.
Yeah,
Kendall Brown. I also really don't get that fits for him unless they move him up to a 3. In Brooklyn, in Milwaukee?
I mean, if they're going to lose Bobby Portis, which is all signs sort to he could end up not being back next season, they're going to need somebody to play some depth minutes at power forward. I guess.
Well,
I think they have other needs. I think they need somebody to come off their bench and give them some scoring punch. But,
it's you're not wrong. That could definitely be a legit, legit pick. It makes sense if Bobby Portis is let go. All right.
In this mock draft, the Bucks are taking Jaden Harvey, the shooting guard out of the G League at night, which I actually kind of like.
Yeah, because I don't know what the situation is with Wesley Matthews.
He's a 1-year deal, so I mean.
Okay, so he's a free agent. Grayson Allen definitely showed how much further he still has to go in that playoff series against Boston. Pat Connaughton is a solid player, but we know what he is.
They need somebody to come off their bench and give them buckets and multiple buckets. Just continue to score at will.
EJ Liddell back to EJ Liddell, he can do that if they so choose. This guy averaged 21 a game in college, right? The Big Ten has been labeled the best conference in basketball the last 2 years. They haven't had good tournament runs the last 2 years, right? But they've sent 7+ teams to the tournament the last 3-4 years in a row, right? Multiple players have come from the Big Ten. They've been Naismith Award nominees.
They had 2 in this year's class alone. I've already had 3, right?
They had 3.
Johnny Davis, Murray, and Keegan Murray, right? All 3 of those guys were in the running for the Naismith Club Player of the Year.
And I think, you throw Kofi Coburn in there, he was a Naismith Award nominee. All right, so Kendall Brown and San Antonio back in the first round. Was this a Derek Derek
This is
White trade?
nope. This well, I mean maybe, but they also have
It says
Toronto's pick.
via Celtic. It says via Celtic.
Well, they
So
have
that's
Toronto's
why.
pick. They have Toronto's pick too.
But they have Kendall Brown going to them, small forward out of Baylor.
Okay. I mean, they do.
19 a
I
game.
mean, another wing. Take another shot at it. Just keep throwing shit at the wall until something hits, man. I mean, I
I mean,
don't
like,
know.
do you hate that philosophy though? Like, I'm gonna keep drafting this position until I get it right. Like, do you
Yeah.
hate that?
No, I don't. I mean, it's one. I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, you got to get it right eventually. You would hope at least. This mock draft has the Dallas Mavericks taking Jaden Hardy out of the G League
G
Ignite.
League
This is what
Ignite.
prevents Speed Nation. I do like that a little bit because the Dallas Mavericks could definitely use another scorer to complement Luca. On this one, the
And
Mavericks have
it,
March NBA champ, small forward out of G League Ignite as well. Which
and this one, he has Jaden Hardy going more so because of Jalen Brunson being an unrestricted free agent. So
correct. That's another.
there
Yeah,
is no,
that's another one. It's like they're gonna lose him unless they win the title.
um, which ain't out of the realm of the possibility. Let's not be carried.
No, no.
Miami, the Heat at 27, he has Trevor Keels, point guard, shooting guard combo going out of Duke. He averaged 19 a game for Duke. I see what's his name. I see Kyle Lowry. I see Gabe Vincent. Hero runs the point for them. Who am I missing?
I mean, Jimmy Butler runs a
Jim,
little bit of point for them. I mean,
Max Strus don't bring the ball up, but he's a guard. You still got Oladipo, who's a combo.
free agent.
Oladipo's a free agent. All right, thank you for specifying that.
Miami Heat in this mock draft are the two of them. They took Blake Leslie, the guard out of Notre Dame. This one has them taken Bryce McGowan, the shooting guard out of Nebraska. Both of these feel like the Victor Oladipo replacement if they can't afford to keep him after what it's been a decent playoff run for him. He might have earned himself a little bit.
Since he's come back, he's had a very good showing.
Yeah,
right,
without doubt.
28, Golden State, Christian Braun out of Kansas.
Traquavian Smith, the shooting guard out of NC State. This one has them taken Bryce McGowan, the shooting guard out of Nebraska. I mean, they kind of did this with Moses Moody.
29.
I mean, Moses Moody kind of fills this role for this Golden Kuminga too. I think they need more bigs. Personally, I think they need a couple more bigs.
Yeah,
I know they have Con Looney, they have Wiseman, but I mean, they have a billion guards.
They got and they get real small after. Well, until Wiseman plays a game for them, like it's.
Or plays another game for them at least. I mean, it's been. I mean, he played a little bit his rookie season, but
plays another game for them. And I think back to what you said a while back when he was playing in the G League. You were saying that they didn't like what they were seeing, right? And I kind of have to harpen that to inactivity. Like that was probably his first time. That was probably like his first time running fives, like competitive fives, and God knows how long. Because again, like you can scrimmage all you want. You can scrimmage fives all you want. Something tells me that that's not the same, right? Because the other team is actively trying to stop you from scoring. Right? Like they're actually competing against you to stop you from being successful. Kevon Looney, Wiseman, and after that they get significantly small. Like Draymond again is not a true five.
I mean, he's 6'6", basically.
Like that's not like him playing on the team he does. Like the way, because of their ability to shoot the ball, allows them to mask a lot of their deficiencies defensively.
It's true.
Because you're so focused on keeping up with them because they're shooting threes. That causes you to go down and jack up threes, and you're not gonna match them 3 for 3.
No, it's definitely
happening.
not. So yeah, I think that kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. Memphis Grizzlies, they have Lake LaRivia, the guard out of Wake Forest. Man, I don't know LaRivia, the forward out of Wake Forest. This one has them taking Max Christie, the shooting guard out of Michigan State. Is this Doug Christie's kid?
I don't know. I don't think so. Is this Memphis you're doing?
Memphis, yeah, Memphis.
They have Bryce McGowan going to Memphis. This one does.
Okay.
The ESPN one. They have Caleb Houston out of Michigan going to OKC at 30.
And then this one at 30 has Jalen Williams, the guard out of Santa Clara. This one has Trevor Keels, the shooting guard out of Duke, going to the Thunder. This is from the Suns. This is in the Chris Paul trade.
So some of the names that you mentioned that went first round for your two, he has Patrick Baldwin going to the Pacers in the second round. Traquavian Smith going to the Raptors in the second round. Wendell Moore Jr., who was not mentioned at all, going to Portland in the second round. Jake LaRavia going to the Spurs in the second round. More notable names. Max Christie out of Michigan State going to Charlotte.
He is not related. He is not related to Doug Christie, by the way.
I was not concerned with that.
I'm just letting you know, he's not related to Doug Christie. Just so you know, in case you were wondering, worried about it, thinking about it, agonizing over it.
And just a reminder, there's only 58 picks in the second round this year.
Yeah, the Bulls and the Heat
had to forfeit their second round picks due to tampering charges in this past year's free agency run. Only 58 picks.
I imagine every year is going to have some sort of tampering charges in it every season from now on, because players are talking to each other, but like way before they're supposed to. But yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. So the Orlando Magic, they win the first overall pick. First four picks were Orlando, Oklahoma City, Houston, Sacramento. Detroit gets a little bit of the shaft, falls out of the top five. That's how it's the fifth pick. So yeah, we'll see how it ends up shaking out. Let us know what you think about the Orlando Magic winning the lottery. What do you think they're going to do with this pick? We're interested to see what you guys have to say. I've been David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. And TJ, what are we doing here at the Prime, my friend?
We're bringing the heat. And Kofi Kingston did something in college, but it wasn't basketball. I
love Kofi Kingston, dude. You just can't get enough. The new day.
I meant to ask you something, but I'll bring it to the group chat.
Okay.
It's wrestling related, so I think you would know more about it than I would before I form an opinion on it. So, but I'll ask you in the group chat.
Sounds good. We will be back here tomorrow. We're going to be breaking down what's going to be happening to the teams that didn't move on to the conference finals tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies, Milwaukee Bucks, and Philadelphia 76ers.
And quick Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals update. The Miami Heat have blown this one wide open. They used a big third quarter. They went on a 22-2 run. They are up 18 at the moment. It is 96-78 with 10 minutes to go in the fourth.
Some real quick facts about this game. So Miami scored 39 points in the third quarter to Boston's 14. Also, Al Horford.
Oh, my God.
Al Horford in the protocols, health and safety protocols. Marcus Smart did not play in this game. So do that information as you will. We'll be back here tomorrow breaking down the teams that didn't make it to the conference finals. And I'm David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. You all have a good rest of your evening. And please let us know what you think about the what happened there with the lottery. You all have a good night and stay safe. Peace out, brother.
See you, man.